My name is Zenthia. I'm a creative consultant and I operate the mood board Instagram account White Sage. As a creative consultant, I speak with brands and different kind of businesses as well, not just brands, on their overall visual direction. I kind of help to guide them then with creating a kind of visual world that would be recognised if seen on like a billboard, in an EDM, like on an Instagram account. And I also work with them as well to kind of formulate their social media strategy and how they can be seen in the world. So White Sage was started as I was studying interior design, and that kind of made me realise about the power of kind of creating a world in a way. So I feel like that has helped inform how I creative consult now and work with brands and things like that by curating certain images together, kind of fulfilling a look that they have together, and then the direction in which like White Sage or a brand would take then if you're kind of creating like an object or a picture or clothing or something like that. I started White Sage, I was studying interior design. I had done a diploma of interior design previously, and then I moved to Melbourne to study the diploma of interior design that has like an honours kind of course to it, which means that then in your fourth year it takes a bit more of an art approach, and you've learned along the way all the pieces that you like, and you get to kind of explore what it is that like really makes you tick. And so in my first year of studying interior design in the Bachelor, I started White Sage because I was learning about spaces, but different to the kind of decoration diploma I'd done already. It was spaces and art, and also like photo shoots of like fashion and things like that, and kind of learning that an interior design is kind of the way that they taught it was that it spanned quite a few things, not just decoration, but kind of the designing of how a person comes to see things and interact with things as well. So yeah, through that, I was sharing what I would find on White Sage, or I was sharing what I would find through my studies then on White Sage. And as it kind of kept building, I learned that aesthetically, even though all the images were coming kind of more from projects of concepts and art pieces and architecture and things that have these concepts, they all followed the same aesthetic kind of sensibility as well. And that's kind of where I realised that that kind of is a brand aesthetic in a way, yeah. I think my taste is quite minimal, and I think it's, now that I'm saying it out loud, I think it is because of this like human focus. So I don't want things in a space that don't mean something or can overwhelm. I want things in a space that are quite purposeful. So in that means that, and materials like preferably that are natural as well, because you can just sense that as a human, I feel. And so yeah, not crowding it, having it clean, purposeful kind of thing. And that also has just happened to kind of be my sensibilities as well. Pieces that are doing their purpose, or like a lamp that is kind of like a sculpted light or something like that, like that works as an art piece as well as something functional, is also kind of within my aesthetic preferences. Yeah, I think it's just a kind of combination of those means that it comes out as this sensibility that looks a certain way. Yeah. I think where I've said I like to design for humans, unfortunately, the money in interior design is developers. And so a lot of things were getting made, a lot of decisions got made where the person wasn't the focus, and built quite fast that you know it is just going to be knocked down in a few years. It just got unsustainable. And I just didn't like it. It was quite boring as well, like just doing the same things, like writing out like a furniture schedule, and using the same materials. It felt quite limiting. So I left. I didn't have a plan. I just quit. But while I had been working, two of my favourite local brands had reached out to me, like while I was working in interiors, and I'd said no because I was working. But when I finished, I thought maybe I'll hit them up again and see what they're doing. And thankfully, they both were looking, so I went back with them. And so I was working on their social media because of White Sage and about how White Sage has this kind of language to it. They had seen that that is the way that I work in social media, as opposed to just like quick trends and things like that. So I went on with them then as well. And fortunately, they have similar beliefs to me, where it's kind of about your brand language and just doing that and not changing your way and just designing and having the products, both of those as well. One of them was a Melbourne-based clothing company, and all the clothes were made in Collingwood, which is a suburb in Melbourne. So it was made like a kilometre from my house, basically. So everything, like the garments were like, patterns were made there, they were cut, they were sewn, all the fabrics, like we knew where they were all coming from. The designer themselves, her vision was just absolutely beautiful, the pieces she had. So then the photo shoots as well would have that same kind of like restrained aesthetic. So then her online offering and the language in which her photos and things came across was all quite consistent. So she was really great to work for, as well as the other kind of local ones that I was with are similar. They source all of their fabrics from sustainable kind of models. They've been to the factories, they do their photo shoots quite slowly, quite mindfully, cast who they want, and just really stick to their own brand. So I think I'm very fortunate to have them for clients, but they were great just to get to kind of like stretch their aesthetics as well and see what that would be across like a new campaign and things like that. Yeah. But no, I definitely have that anxiety about like when will the clients come, but it's easier for me to say this than to like believe it at like 3 a.m. But I've been doing it for 3 years, so I'm like, it happens, they'll come, but we'll see. I think at the moment now, my biggest thing with this way of living, I am missing that nest. I'm missing kind of having my pieces around. And as we've been traveling, we've been staying at these places like here, where there's like all these books on display, and it's quite generous with what you can kind of pick off a shelf and feel and look through and everything. And I found that that's kind of informed my purchases as we've been traveling as well. Like this time around, like this year of traveling, I've bought a lot of posters and lamps and books and things because I think I am quite ready to have a proper base now. Last year, I was buying lots of clothes and things, like things that can pack into a suitcase and you still are moving and having it. But yeah, I think now I'm really craving that, like a space to curate our things together and live within that. Yeah. We went to Naoshima in Japan. And it's an art island, and it has a lot of Tadao Ando architecture. It's kind of, I would say it's like close to Hiroshima. It's slightly away from it, but that's a place that I've wanted to go to for 10 years. It's just really hard to get to because it just takes a long time, and normally when you're coming from Australia, you're going to Tokyo or Kyoto or something. So this time around, we had a week spare, and I was like, we're going to do this. And so Firstly, we went to Takamatsu and went to the Garden Museum of Isamu Noguchi, which was amazing. So that was very inspiring. And because you can't take photos or anything, going there was incredible to see it, because it couldn't have been spoiled online, but even just kind of being there and the energy, and he's an artist that I really admire, seeing his sculptures and seeing it kind of just like plonked around a garden, and it was raining so heavily that day. So seeing the stone kind of interacting with water, and it was just felt very special. And then the day after that, we went to Naoshima and Teshima. And Teshima, in my final year of uni, Teshima was the project that I focused on the most, the artwork there. And so the museum there just has the one structure, and again, you can't take photos or anything. So I didn't know what it was going to be. I just read things, and because I studied it like nearly 10 years ago now, what's available now of photos of it was not available when I was studying. And so being there, that was really special, because it's this big kind of dome with a hole in the ceiling of it. So you sit in it, and because it's void of everything except for just the sky or trees, watching the trees pass over is just so magic. And these little like balls of water form from the floor as well, and they kind of all run down past you. And because it's so empty, all you can focus on is watching this water kind of run and catch up with itself and pool, or the sky and the trees and the birds. It's just really beautiful. So that's like my favorite project of all time. So to get to see that in real life was incredible. We spent 5 hours there. Couldn't walk away. Yeah. Definitely being able to feel it. I think I'm very sensitive to natural materials. So if I go somewhere and it's a veneer, it breaks my heart. If it's not the real thick timber I'd seen online that I was thinking I was getting, you can just feel the difference. Like, I really like John Pawson, the architect, and he's done a store for Jill Sander in Tokyo. And when we went there, it just wasn't kind of the travertine that I was expecting it to be. It was just kind of thin slices of it, and you could just feel it. And that store was my background on my computer all the way through working as an interior designer. So it was always my like source of inspiration, and anytime we had a developer say something that wasn't quite right, I would think it's okay because John Pawson's done this for Jill Sander. So to see it in real life was quite different to what I thought. Very beautiful though, and very grateful to be able to see things like that. But in that as well, places that I didn't think I would like so much, I absolutely adored. Like, we stayed at an Airbnb that I'd seen kind of online, and I didn't think much of it until we were physically in the space, and you could just feel that the owner of the space had really put a lot of care and attention into it. That is very different. I think also with White Sage and I put a lot of it down kind of to COVID as well, because we were inside and we were looking at screens so much. You really imagine pictures, and you really imagine the picture of a space, but that's because it's photographed in a certain way and the light was a certain way one day, and that can change, but it's very different when you're in a space and you can just feel it. Like, both of those spaces could have had the same lighting and the same photographer, and like one would look a lot better than the other one on a screen, but it's when you're in it and feeling it again. So I think that that's my most fortunate part of being able to travel and go into all of these spaces and really actively seek out all those spaces that I've ever wanted to visit, because we won't be traveling like this forever, but it does mean that I know the importance of it now. So when we do have a home, I'll really want to travel to see these places, like a lot more than I thought I did. Yeah. I know which photos will do well on there, but White Sage isn't for other people, it's for me. I think that that's kind of what I've come back to learn, because for a while I was just posting photos that I knew would perform well, and they did, but I didn't like them. And I have certain furniture pieces that I can't stand that I don't want to say, but I won't post a photo if that's in it because I can't deal with it. So yeah, that kind of made me be like, I don't care if other people like it. I don't like it. This is my page. They could follow somebody else. But also I've learned to just not look at likes. It's really hard, but normally the photos that I like the most and the projects that I like the most, if I'm sharing them on White Sage, people don't like them. Maybe because it's like, I still love concept over aesthetic. So it is, if I'm posting it and it might be slightly more conceptual, that makes complete sense for a photo to not perform as well. Like, I showed my family photos of the place that we went to in Toshima and they were like, cool. But they weren't there, like they don't know, and that's fine. But also knowing like what will perform well as well, just to keep it tracking. So every now and then I'll throw in a photo that will perform well, but I also just blame it on the algorithm. Like, people might not see it, and that's not up to me. And maybe if they saw it, they would like it, but I can't control that. So I just don't look at likes anymore because of that, because it's not true to whether or not it's a good photo. But aesthetically, even like overall on White Sage when posting, like we'll have to have those kind of like good performers, because like it just completes the grid really. No one will know what they're missing out on, kind of thing. So show them, if you like it, show them. Because, and like back with White Sage, that's how White Sage started anyway. I was never posting it for other people. It was only the last kind of couple of years then I would start to post for other people. And now I'm back on posting what I like again. Yeah. I think everyone has taste. I think you can kind of refine it as well. I think if you try too hard for it, it will be not yours. And then that means that it's the same as others if you're copying them. So I think everyone has taste in their own ways, and it might not be to my liking or something, but it exists and it's interesting and it's their taste. And so yeah, I think everyone has their own aesthetic preferences. I think some people are probably more confident in their own than others. And I think people should rely on their taste and keep going forward with it. And I'm really having an appreciation for that with like AI and everything as well at the moment. It means that you're not just reproducing something that already exists. It means that you can, lean on what it is that you like and just be confident in that. And if you have a room that has like fluffy things everywhere, that's not to my taste, but it is taste, and it's great that it exists, kind of thing. I think it's that authenticity. I think it's liking what you like, knowing what you like, being confident in what you like. I think because you're not trying to then follow it, by the time you reach it, that trend would have changed anyway, and you just won't be happy with whatever it is. So that's probably how to be ahead of trends, is to probably not adhere to trends or something, just to know what you like and just go for that. Yeah. When I started studying interior design, I was very serious about decorating, and probably I was more into the brands and things like that as well. And a space was only beautiful if it had like a Herman Miller chair in it, or like an Eames chair or something like that. Whereas now, like I've been studying like 13 years ago. So I've kind of been in interior design, I suppose, for 13 years. And yeah, when I started, I was quite rigid about it and quite judgmental, I think, as well. As I've traveled and as I've seen yeah, more, probably it's this taste again, like more how other people have interiors and things like that, has made me more open to what a beautiful space can be as well, not being so serious and so structured with it. Our house used to be quite like clean and everything was away and very minimal, very tidy, but I can imagine when we have a house now, it's going to have like books open and kind of someone's lived in it. I'm really enjoying that lived in aspect, and that might be tying in with that we don't have a home at the moment, that I am craving that kind of like lived in, because each place that we're staying in, while beautiful, is a hotel or an Airbnb or something like that as well. Yeah, so I think that that's probably changed the way that I, like travel has changed the way that I see interiors. Yeah. It's fun. I think beauty's fun. I think it seems vain and it seems like not necessary, but it's nice. Like, art's nice. It's nice to look at pretty things. It's nice to be wearing something that you like. It's nice to, but even still, like, it's nice to take time to watch birds. And I think beauty kind of, to me at least, it kind of slows you down. It's almost meditative to like focus on beauty or something. So yeah, I think that it just kind of enriches lives. Yeah. I think I'm asking a lot, like, what am I designing for? And so that applies to client work and also personal projects. And I think that the answer to that I've just realised, and it's just designing for humans again. And whether that be like a campaign, a photo campaign that you see on social media or something, or yeah, a physical item that somebody's touching. Yeah, just, yeah, how can a person interact with this is the biggest question I'm asking.